This episode is brought to you by IMF Recruitment. This is not just another mission. The IMF is shut down when it's implicated in a global terrorist bombing plot. Ghost Protocol is initiated, and Ethan Hunt and his rogue new team must go undercover to clear their organization's name. No help, no contact, off the grid. You have never seen a mission grittier and more intense than this. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol stars Tom Cruise, Simon Pegg, Jeremy Renner, and Paula Patton. It is directed by Brad Bird. Welcome to Movieology. I am your host, Joseph Darnell. I trust you have had an awesome Christmas holiday, and that in your New Year's festivities you'll make another trip to the cinema for something like, a little Mission Impossible-ness. But before we start this review, I have a few significant announcements to make. First, today's episode is our 70th episode ever of Movieology. Yay! Actually, this really is sort of exciting, leastways for us here at the studio. Movieology only began with its first episode this past February 16th. 70 episodes in 11 months is quite an accomplishment for our meager crew of 2.5 people, and we trust that you have been thrilled with our results as well. I want to thank you for watching and everyone else that's pitched in with the guest appearances and worked behind the scenes to make Movieology even possible. And in other news, this marks the beginning of a significant change. Movieology will soon be rebranded as a project of another company, moving away from the business limitations of a nonprofit organization. This will allow for more funding to support new features in the show and the website. It also means that we will reformat the show early in 2012. There might be a hiatus since we will have a lot of groundwork to redesign under the new name. In the meantime, Movieology will continue as it has in its current form, and we will keep you posted about the official change when it finally arrives. So now, let's get on with the Mission Impossible review. We've come to expect impossible action from a Mission Impossible film, while the gadgets stay somewhat realistic. In Ghost Protocol, however, the gadgets go way beyond believable at times. Some go so far as to defy physics. So for some movie watchers, these elaborate tech contrivances may be a disappointment. But I wasn't disappointed because the action felt all the more realistic than other Mission Impossible films. Adding to the believability and offering some comic relief, the top-of-the-line technology breaks down on the agents quite often, leaving them to improvise their way out of dangerous situations. As a movie soundtrack fan myself, I enjoyed the subtlety of the narrative supporting soundtrack in this film. There's a moment when the spies are faced with the potential of nuclear war. In an understated yet brilliant, unifying musical touch I've never heard before, all that's audible for that moment is the very lowest keys on a piano. Ah, such sweet... Okay, whatever. One charming direction Ghost Protocol takes is back to the roots of the Mission Impossible television show. In the TV program, the stories were centered around a team of spies working together. The previous films have been devoid of the teamwork that is present at the heart of Ghost Protocol. Plot is nearly all that there is to this movie for the first hour and 25 minutes, with little character development. When plot isn't counterbalanced with characters and their development, you lose the human element. The plot of Ghost Protocol offers loads of entertainment value, but little in the way of endearment to the characters. This disconnect comes through especially with the central character Ethan Hunt. In Ghost Protocol, Ethan is mostly silent. His face is always hard and focused on the task at hand, conveying few human emotions or frailties. Confronted with the odds against them and the overwhelming possibility that their failure would mean the end of the world in this case, Ethan is strangely quiet and reserved. But I really enjoy how the MI franchise often flies in the face of the seemingly impossible, yet keeps each mission fresh by building on the successes and failures of previous endeavors. The agents are self-sacrificing and dedicated to their insanely ambitious goals. Their determination propels exceptionally high levels of character values like thoroughness, responsibility, self-control, resourcefulness, and loyalty. Sometimes even it would seem illogical or impossible to be so. Mission Impossible is just that, people doing the impossible. Ethan Hunt is an agent of IMF that is willing and able to defy man's natural limitations. The short of it is, nothing is impossible if you have the strongest will. It's when their will is defeated that they lose. The villain Kurt Hendricks admits his lack of willpower, but unceasing intelligence and determination keep him ahead of Ethan Hunt. Hendricks explains that he's out to restore some form of balance to the natural evolutionary condition. He's quintessentially a Darwinist that believes that the world is messed up because evolution is stuck in a rut. By inciting nuclear war, he believes he is making it possible for the natural processes to start anew. Now, IMF and Ethan oppose this. They believe that man can achieve greatness. Like you wouldn't believe greatness. The spies themselves are set apart from the bounds that restrict the rest of humanity. Of course, if you believe that you're this great and powerful, then you must have a tweaked moral code. The spies believe that the end justifies the means, and that allows them to protect the world by any means necessary. It's IMF agents' job to protect man's potential transcendence of the human condition. Ethan has already transcended his natural human state. Nothing really hurts him. There is nothing that can stop these super-like humans from doing what they believe in. Where there is a will, there is a way. And because they believe the end justifies the means, even murder is justified when it serves a greater purpose. There's an issue of 6 murdered men that is confronted, but quickly dropped because, after all, the agent who did it had his reasons. He is above not just man's law or the laws of physics, but even the law of God. This worldview is reinforced by the character development of 2 fellow agents who cannot forgive themselves for personal failures. They learn that nothing is impossible. They are forgiven and not judged for their shortcomings. These agents are assets to the team so long as they can forgive themselves. It's just that simple. I give Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol 4 out of 5 stars. While I see shortcomings in character development, over-ambitious technology, and a typical spy/big government-like worldview, it's very entertaining, clever, and engaging. If you want to see something fun for over the holidays and you're over the age of 18 or with a parental guardian, I say Ghost Protocol is the movie for you, if you choose to accept it. Remember, you can catch more impossible movie awesomeness on our website, Movieology.tv, the source for worldview enthusiast news, reviews, and discussion of all things film. I am Joseph Darnell. Until next time, this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. The IMF is an independent espionage agency commonly employed by the United States government. Since it was founded in 1966, they have only recruited the most excellent operative potentials from inside the most unique subcultures around the globe. You know, the message should have self-destructed by now. Welcome to Movieology. I am your host, Joseph Darnell. I trust you have had an awesome Christmas.
Welcome to Movieology.
Or I could do it like the Count from Sesame Street. This is our 70th episode.